Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. I love you so much. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. I'm your host, Jamie, and we are going to get straight into the episode. This episode is themed like dead exes. I don't know what to call it, but that's kind of the premise of the stories that we're reading today. So let's just get started. This video contains content about suicide. If you ever have feelings of worthlessness, call 988, or if you need anyone to talk to. I love you, and I'm so happy you're here. The first story is titled Falling in Love with My Late Husband's Best Friend. What Should I Do? I, 28 female, lost my husband, 32 male, to suicide. He left behind me and our, at the time, 14-month-old daughter. It was very unexpected, with no history of mental health or anything. It was traumatic, to say the least. I've been saying I've been seeing a therapist since it happened, and although I know the grief will always be there, it's not as nearly heavy as anymore. I feel as I'm in a pretty good place with it mentally. He made the choice he did, and I don't deserve to live the rest of my life suffering from his decision. My late husband had a very close knit group of friends that grew up together. We'd all hang out often, go on trips, etc. Since his passing, they've been very supportive, and I actually think we're all even closer now in our shared grief. One of these friends, 31 male, is not married and doesn't have kids, so he's been more available to help out with things. As time goes on, we've grown pretty close and text daily. He's funny and kind, and he makes me smile. Him and my late husband had a lot in common in terms of interests, but they're also very different personality wise. He brings a sense of calm and understanding that I never really felt with my late husband. He's also wonderful with my daughter and always has been. So was my late husband. Before he passed, my late husband would always say this friend needed to find a girl and get married because he'd be such a great dad. I think we've both had some feelings for each other for a while now, but have danced around the subject. He finally just came out and said it the other day and asked if I felt it too. We talked about it and both really enjoy each other, but we're afraid of how it may look. Neither of us want to rush into anything, but we both see potential for a future. I want to give my daughter a father figure one day, and I and I know the older she gets, the harder it will be to introduce someone. The idea of trusting anyone with her is hard, and I trust him fully. Beyond that, we can talk about my late husband without it being awkward or upsetting, and he understands my emotions because he's grieving too. I personally feel I personally feel like, as much as I loved my late husband, he made that decision to leave, and I have to move forward and find happiness again for myself and for my daughter. It just feels right with him. We connect on so many levels, and I already trust him. I also love that he has memories of him that he can share with our daughter. That being said, we both feel a little guilty for feeling this way. Our biggest setback is worrying about others' reactions, particularly his other friends and my in laws. I know this doesn't look great from an outsider's perspective. How should we proceed? Why am I I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm in support. I'm happy for her if she's happy. Obviously, yeah, as she said, you need to be able to move on. And as sad as it is, and I'm sure as much grief will carry with you in your life for the rest of your life, it's also nice to have someone by your side that knows a similar feeling to what you're feeling. Like, obviously, he wasn't dating or married to your husband, but he was really good friends with him and knows how you feel. And he knew you when you were married to him. And I don't necessarily think that means that you guys had feelings for each other the whole time. I I feel like that might be what people think when they announce their relationship. Like, there's going to be speculation. Oh my gosh, did they know each other? Or did they like each other while he was alive? Were they together? Were they cheating? There's going to be speculation, but at the end of the day, if this is what makes you happy and if it's a healthy relationship and he's good to your daughter, I say all power to you and go for it. If this is really something you can see working out, then why not? Why not? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if it was his brother, I'd be like, okay, weird. I don't even know. But for his friend that you're also close with, I feel like what is the harm in that? Like, as long as you guys were just friends during the marriage while he was alive, right? Okay. Let's see what people in the comments are saying. There's also a little update on this post as well that we'll read after. But some of the comments are saying, don't feel bad for how you feel and don't worry about what people will think. You can't help who you love. You're right. You have to move forward and find happiness. And it sounds like you're doing just that. Wishing you all the happiness. And then someone else said, I'm watching it happening in real time with my mom's boss. Same situation. Lost her partner to suicide and ended up getting along great with his friend who came to help. It happens. Give yourself grace and enjoy this new feeling. 100%. It's actually really common for this situation to happen with a friend or a sibling of the person who has passed. The main thing is to ensure that you're attracted to the friend because you genuinely like him and not just because you've bonded over your shared trauma and he happens to be present. If you had never gotten together with your late husband and you met this friend, do you think you'd have these feelings? Either way, you've got the answer. Yes, that's also something that I was thinking as well. Making sure that it's something that you're actually into, you actually like him for him, and he actually likes you for you, and not just because you guys are having a shared sense of trauma and sadness and grief that you guys can bond over. Because obviously, that's not healthy to have the foundation of the relationship be because your husband passed away. But obviously, I'm sure they know that. It's just hard to, I feel like it's hard to tell if that's really the case. So, I don't know, but let's read the update. Update, I'm falling in love with my late husband's best friend. What should I do? We decided to slowly step into being more than just friends and test the waters a bit. He took me out to eat at a nice restaurant this week and we had a great time. He kissed me goodnight and it felt exactly like what my heart needed. We don't plan to rush things, and my priority is my daughter. Since she's only 2, we plan to just continue like normal with her. She loves having him around to play with, and he loves playing with her, so it's a win-win. I talked with my sister-in-law about it first, and she was not surprised nor upset by it. She said it will be hard no matter who it was, but she thinks it's great that he fits in the family so well. My in-laws reacted similarly and just said they ultimately want me to be happy. We haven't talked about it to friends yet, but plan to bring it up slowly. Thank you for the advice. It made me realize that although there will always be opinions, the majority of people are understanding and supportive, and those who aren't don't matter as long as we're happy. Slay. Happy ending to that story, which we love to hear. Now, I'm not really so sure how this next story is going to go, but there are multiple updates to this story, and it's a pretty long, I'd say, story, including all the updates and whatnot. So the latest update was 7 days old. The first original post is January 20th, 2025. And the title is, I, 21 male, got a friend request from my dead ex-girlfriend, 21 female. In 8th grade, I met this girl, North. She was in my band class, and the two of us hit it off. I asked her out on a movie date, and from there, we became boyfriend and girlfriend. She was my first girlfriend, and things were going all right. That was until her dad got a new job across the country in California. North moved away, but we decided to try out long-distance dating through our freshman year. We were not built for long distance dating. I couldn't protect her from bullies, hug her when she was crying, or tell her it was going to be all right when she told me about her depression. We got into arguments about God knows what, but decided to keep the relationship going because her dad was trying to transfer back closer to our hometown. That was until she stopped texting me around Christmas and her sister sent me a funeral program and asked me to go to California. North's sister told me that she took her own life because the bullying was getting too much and that I wasn't there for her when she needed me. It broke my heart that I couldn't go to California for the funeral, and for the past 8 years, I've mourned her loss. I spent the entirety of my high school career trying to rebuild myself from all the damages. I went to meetings for people who have lost family members and loved ones. I went to therapy for 4 years to try and help process the loss. I had to learn how to become dependable because I didn't want it to happen again. And after working on myself for 4 years, I asked out one of my classmates, Lucy. We started dating the tail end of our senior year and are about to celebrate our 4 year anniversary in April. Last night, I got a notification from Facebook saying that I got a new friend request. I opened the app and found out that it was from North. She looks older, but it's undeniable that there are pictures of her as an adult with her fiance and her newborn daughter. I spent 8 years of my life believing that she was dead, but here she is with undeniable proof that she has been living a great life without me. My stomach is in knots, my heart is sinking to the ground, and my mind is racing trying to figure out what happened and what I should do. Do I accept the friend request? Do I ignore it and try to move on? I feel completely lost, and I feel like my entire life has been a lie. I spent the entire night looking at pictures of her and her family, floored that she would do this to me. Okay, that's not where I thought that was going. I thought that was going to be kind of like, I don't even know, but I didn't expect her to be faking her death. So that's a little insane. And I personally would not ignore it and move on, but I just couldn't do that. I'd be like, hello? What the hell is going on? And you're alive? Question mark. I would want to know, and I would want her to explain to me and be like, um, I faked my death, because that's just embarrassing. Are you kidding? Especially with something as serious as taking your own life. That's even more diabolical to me. Let's read some of the comments though. Someone said, "Whatever you do, please discuss this with your current girlfriend as well." T. She will likely feel betrayed if you take up contact with an ex from which you never got closure without telling her. That being said, I would accept the request and ask her about the fake funeral and everything. You have a right to know. And then OP said, "Jesus, I didn't even think about how to talk to Lucy about this. I know I need to tell her, but I don't even know how to bring it up." And then the person said, "This is your present. Don't ruin it or hurt someone chasing a relationship with a scammer or AI." Wait, huh? And they said it's not AI. The account is friends with all the members of her family, her dad, stepmom, sisters, etc. This is actually her. And then someone said, "Might the sister have done it without North's knowledge?" And then Opie said, "North was the one to stop texting me first. I don't see a world where she ghosts me and her sister just so happens to send her regards." Okay, and then someone said, "So I don't know if it's the healthiest option, but I would 100% want closure. Accept the friend request and send her a message saying how happy you are to see that she's alive, since you were under the impression that she took her own life. How thankful you are that it was a lie and that you're happy she clearly is in a better place. Do not accuse her of anything. If you feel inclined, let her know that her death led you to dedicating a part of your life to being the person you felt she needed at the time. Let her apologize if she does. Don't feel inclined to accept it, and feel free to let her know that she caused a lot of hurt. I wouldn't engage beyond finding closure, and I 100% would block her after getting it." OP said, I do want closure, but I don't want to chase it with how stirred up I am right now. I don't know if I'm happy that North's alive. Don't get me wrong, I don't wish death upon her, but I feel upset that she would do that. I dedicated a third of my life to her, and now that dedication feels like it's been ripped from underneath me. A part of me is happy that she's alive, but I'm also angry, devastated, and heartbroken that I wasn't the person that she could simply talk to. That I was such a little shit that it was easier to fake her death than it was to break up with me. But also, so much has changed from me coming from this. I'm happy with my life and how it's turning out, but so much of that came from wanting to do right by her memory, and now it's just, I don't know what it is, but I know it sucks. Yikes. Okay. We're going to read the first update. I got a friend request from my dead ex girlfriend. Update 1. Thank you to all who have responded. I want to get each and every one of you. But for now, I hope this update will do. For now, I have decided to wait until Lucy gets home from work before I make any decision on whether or not to accept the friend request. I want to know what she thinks, and I can always depend on her to keep me level headed. But until then, I just kind of want to sort out my feelings. I remember the day I found out about North's supposed death. It was a few days before Christmas, and the snow just started to hit the ground. I remember walking to the edge of the neighborhood along the main street. I sat in the sidewalk, watching the cars, thinking about how, if I walked onto the road, they wouldn't be able to stop. I was sitting there on the sidewalk, contemplating for what it felt like hours. It was there I decided I wanted to keep living. It was the most important choice of my life. But now that choice feels hollow. It feels meaningless. Every decision that I've made since then has come from that choice I made 8 years ago, and now it feels empty and without promise. I'll keep you guys updated on what Lucy and I decide. Please don't think for a second I plan to do anything drastic. I really don't, and I want to keep making that choice to live. But for now, I just need to figure out my meaning. Okay, we're going to read the second update after that one. I got a friend request from my dead ex-girlfriend. Update 2. I accepted the friend request. After Lucy and I talked about it, we agreed that the responsibility of getting some sort of closure would be worth it. So I accepted the friend request and sent out a text saying hello. About an hour and a half later, I received a notification that North responded. We started talking a bit, talking about how our lives have been. Turns out her and her fiance were in town visiting family, and it started to make her think about all the hurt that she caused me. and that she wouldn't feel comfortable moving on with her relationship without knowing if I was okay. She tried to apologize, saying that we were just dumb kids, and it seemed easier to ghost me instead of break up with me. She told me about how, in some messed up teenager way, she thought giving me an explanation to her ghosting me would make it easier to move on, and so her and her sister concocted the whole story. I told her about the years of therapy, the years of loneliness, and how guilty I felt when I started dating again. I told her about how I used to think she was the one for me, even through the nights of arguing, and that she left me more hurt than if she just threw me away. And I told her that in some weird way, I'm thankful to her. Her death changed me for the better, and I would not be the man I am today if it wasn't for her. I then texted, having said that, I will not accept your apology. It's a shallow attempt to free your guilty conscience before you get married. If you were really sorry, you would have said something sooner. You would have apologized sooner, or would not have done it at all. You took the cowardice way out, and I don't forgive cowards. She said that she understood, but hoped that one day I could move past the hurt she caused me and find it in my heart to forgive her. I took screenshots of the whole conversation and sent it to her fiance. I don't know if he knows the story between me and her, but now he can have enough of an idea that they can start the conversation. I hope they figure out how to move past it. After all, they look very happy together, and the mistakes of a teenager should not affect her current life. However, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me hoping that it crashes and burns. I know this is not the update some of you guys wanted. Some of you really wanted me to bully my way through the conversation or play mind games to fuck with her, but that's not who I am, nor is it who I want to be. On the bright side, I can now truly move on from the relationship that cost me 8 years of my life and put the whole story of North behind me. Thank you to everyone who helped me find the courage to face this head on. Thank you to everyone who sent kind words, and thank you to the guy who DM'd me the number to the suicide hotline. I won't need it for the foreseeable future, but I appreciate it nonetheless. The fact that I understand you're teenagers, so obviously yes, a lot of people do dumb shit when you're teenagers, and as I think that this is a little bit of an extreme thing, I do understand the dumb little pea brain things that teenagers do because I was once a teenager that was doing little dumb pea brain things. And I just think it's crazy that she couldn't have just ghosted him. How about just ghost him, period? Because the way that that is like just inflicting so much trauma for no reason at all is crazy to me. You're going to make up this whole story about a very, very serious and heavy topic, such as you taking your own life, instead of just ghosting him. I mean, that's a different type of trauma, but I think that is much better than saying that you took your own life and making someone go through grief of grieving a person and then feeling all of that guilt. It's a different story if you said that you, I don't know, died in a car crash. Still messed up. Probably don't do that. Please don't fake your death. Please. But to say that you took your own life is crazy because you know that people that love you, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if you know when you're a teenager, but I feel like a lot of people know that when someone takes their own life, the guilt that the people who love them and are in their lives feel is so immense and so strong that it can lead to some terrible things, or it can lead to you getting better and growing through that, but you don't know what that's going to do to someone. I mean, that's actually insane. I oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. I know of multiple people who have taken their own lives, who I don't know anyone super close to me. I was never super close with these people, but I was friends slash friendly with them, and even that, like, that affected me greatly, even not being one of the closest people to them or someone that was in their inner circle. It truly messed me up, for and even to think about it and to think back on it, it still messes me up, just because I think the concept of taking your own life, even though I have been there and I have truly, to be honest, thought about that before and thought about that as a way out of my depression and anxiety before, and I'm so thankful to be over that, but it's such a hard concept to grasp, of getting to that point and deciding to go through with it and take your own life, and just the mental mindset that you would have to be in to do that. And it's so hard to grasp because it's so sad, and I can't imagine just how terrible that person feels, and to know that they go out, oh my gosh, it's truly, it's devastating. Even when I hear about people that I don't know, I've never met in my life, or just I don't even know who they are, and I just see something like a news article about it, it genuinely affects me physically, and it makes me just feel such a weird feeling. I don't even know how to explain the feeling that I feel when I see that kind of stuff, but it just, if it gives me such a sad, weird feeling in my body that I do not like, and I don't even, I can't even begin to understand. Okay, let's read some comments. Wow, what a shitty thing to do, especially to put blame on OP for her death. Saying that without him there, she couldn't handle living is so awful. North and her sister are despicable. Yeah, I don't see in what world there was a well meaning logic there. Faking her death, okay, extreme conflict avoidance, yada yada. But going, she took her own life because you didn't take good enough care of her, that's practically a murder attempt. They sent him a funeral program. Oh my god, I kind of forgot about that. That's crazy to go that far into the situation. I I mean, I don't get it in this sense, but when you're young and you're doing something like crazy, you go to such great extents, and I can just imagine they were having a ball with this and being like, "Oh my god, let's do this and this." Like just rubbing their little fingers together like before a fly like throws up or shits on your food or whatever. Just thinking about how they were going about that, they were just designing her own funeral program together. Like, okay, let's put this and then let's send him this so that he really thinks that it's true and it solidifies it for him. Okay, someone said, "Can you imagine picking out a program for your own funeral just because you didn't feel like sending your boyfriend a message that you need some space and please don't contact me again?" Yeah, probably because they were having fun with it. As crazy as that sounds and as maniacal as that sounds, they were probably, I can imagine, having fun with it. Like, haha, let's do this and let's do this. And then as they get older, you obviously realize, okay, oop, that is actually not good or normal at all. And that's a terrible thing to do to someone. And then you just start to feel an immense amount of guilt for that. Okay, because sometimes I think back about like tiny little things that I did when I was younger, and I'm like, ooh, I wish I never did that. It was like I was drunk and making a decision because my brain was so minuscule and so tiny that I made this stupid decision that I'm like, wow, I wish I never did that because I feel guilty for that or I'm embarrassed about that. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, but I feel like that was just like a whole other person. Like that's not Jamie, that's Amy. Like that was Amy. And I fully developed and added a J to my name once I got my brain and my life situated. And now I'm not as stupid as that, obviously. I make stupid decisions still sometimes, but not half as dumb as some of the things that I did when I was a younger kid, just thinking that I'm, first of all, know it all. Oh my God, I just can't believe how much I thought that I was just a genius. I'm like, I am so grown up. Are you kidding me? I'm 12 years old, guys. I'm about to be a teenager. I know everything in the world there is to know about life, and I can make my own decisions. Okay. This commenter said, all of that just seems so unnecessary. So I want to break up with him, but I'm a coward, so I don't want to tell him that. So I'm just going to ghost him because that's easier than breaking up with him, but I want it to be easier for him to move on. So I'll have my sister create a funeral brochure and make up a lie about me offing myself, but also we're going to blame him for not being with me to protect me so much for sparing his feelings, I guess. Also, I'm going to invite him to my non-existence funeral, and phew, thank God he didn't try to come to it at all. That would have been really awkward. Yeah, I really want to know what they would have done if he would have decided, okay, I'm coming. I'm coming to the funeral. I mean, obviously he's young and probably for how would you get there? How could you go to this funeral? So I'm sure they knew it was damn near impossible for it to happen, but I'm sure on top of that, he probably felt so much grief and so much guilt about not being able to go to the funeral as well because you get a certain amount of closure from a funeral, although it's very painful and such a funerals are, to me, honestly, just so I don't like funerals, but I will always attend if it's someone that I know or that I'm close with, of course. It's I don't like it though. It's such a weird, not weird. I don't know. I don't, for lack of a better word, weird, because it's a feeling that I can't explain, and it's just such a sad, eerie, like unknown feeling. Just the fact that someone that you know has passed away, and now they know or they don't know what is in the afterlife. And that's sometimes how I think about it, because it's so crazy to me. I mean, I could go on and on about just death and how something could be after or something couldn't be after, and that is so insane and scary to me, but it's also cool to me, because what if something after death is better than what we have on earth? That's like how I think of it a lot of the times. A lot of the times I do think of it as like, what if we just never, what if we're just unconscious and never, never to exist again, which is scary, but at the same time it's like then I won't know and it's fine. And but then the other side of it is like, but what if we pass away and this is just phase 1 of our lives, and then the second phase is like we pass away but we go somewhere better than what earth is. And I think that's cool to think about as well. It's like cool, but it's also scary, because it's cool to think about how many possibilities there could be, just because the world and the universe and everything is so vast, that for me it's like there's no way there isn't something after, but obviously I don't fucking know, and I don't know what the possibility of that is, and I'm not a smart little scientist, so I don't even know anything about that. But just thinking about those like space and galaxy and just the world and the things that human beings can create, I'm like, there's just no way that after we die, after we were made somehow with all these bones in our body, with a heart that pumps blood through our body so that we can live, with just we blink to make our eyes get glossy. I don't fucking know. Our eyebrows are in the perfect spot, our hair is in the perfect spot, our fingernails for this and this. We made a language, we made multiple languages. That is just crazy. And when I think about it, it's so complex that I'm like, how could we have been made like this, and there's 8 billion people in the world, but we just die and nothing comes after? Oh my god, that's a whole other, I could talk about that for actually 17 hours, and it probably wouldn't make sense, but because I would just ramble for a year, a millennium. But it's actually so insane to me, and I actually spiral about it sometimes, because sometimes it's like a positive thing and I'm thinking about, wow, like there's so many cool things that could happen after, but then sometimes it's like a negative thing because I'm thinking about how, wow, there could just be nothing after, and that is also scary, because then you're like, fuck, what am I doing with my life, and why am I not taking advantage of everything? But then it's like, wait, I'm not rich, so like I can't really travel the world and see everything. And the fact that I might die not oh my god, I'm actually going to spiral. Because sometimes I think about how the fact that I'm going to die without knowing how it feels to be like every profession. Like I'm never going to feel like how it feels to be super smart and be like a surgeon or like a neurosurgeon, or I'm never going to feel like how it feels to be like super famous like Kim Kardashian, and like just be insanely rich that you don't have to worry about anything in the world, because you have so much access to everything. And the list goes on about that, but I won't bore you with the details because I could actually go on for hours about that. Okay, that is the end of the storytime segment. We're going to move on to the advice segment. If you want unprofessional advice from me, you can go in the link below. There's a link that you can click. It's a Google form. Fill it out. It's completely anonymous, so give me as much detail as you possibly can. Okay, this first question says, "Hi Jamie, I want to start off by saying I love your videos and love your company while I'm doing my makeup or driving to class. Love you. I want to preface the situation I'm in. I'm very much the asshole and I do not excuse my behavior whatsoever, but I just want to hear someone's opinion / advice on the situation. I, 21 female, and my boyfriend, Jake, 22 male, have been dating for 3 years. This is my third long term relationship, and I had previously had a verbally abusive addict / cheater boyfriend and a physically abusive partner after that. Jake is a huge breath of fresh air for me, to say the least. I've been continuously in toxic cycles when it comes to my previous relationships, but the moment I met Jake, it felt like life fell into place. We lived across from each other in our college dorms and were attached by the hip every single day. Fast forward, we have lived in different apartments together and have built a life, even having two pets together. Jake used to be caring, affectionate, and so mindful of me. After the first year, he graduated college and began his career and slowly became very lazy. This laziness affected our home. I was a junior chemistry pre med major and had very demanding classes, so my days would include studying until late hours, cooking for us, doing laundry, and cleaning the house, and working late nights every weekend. I had 0 days off in the week, yet managed to take care of us constantly, while all he had to do was go to his 9 to 5. He is an avid smoker and loves to be ridiculously high at night, eating everything in our pantry and leaving all the wrappers for me to pick up before I go to class. Gradually, this changed our dynamics. We were no longer attached by the hip or being all lovey dovey and affectionate every day. His presence would annoy me because he couldn't be bothered to help no matter how much I hinted. My hints turned into comments and even awful fights. This impacted our sex life too. I was not attracted to the idea of being a literal mother to my boyfriend, folding his laundry, making him food, packing him lunch. I did not find him attractive as a man when I only saw him as a boy. His sexual attraction never stopped for me, and he always initiated, yet I was progressively saying no every time. My resentment for him built. Our fights would be about our low sex life, the chores, the lack of consideration he had for me while I was juggling school, work, chores, and more. But one thing Jake would always say is, "I'll promise I'll do better for you." He would always listen and mostly take accountability for his actions. I'm not used to this. I'm used to men screaming and gaslighting until the fight is flipped onto me, which is why I kept giving him so many chances. Why lose 2 years of our love over chores? In the public eye, at work, school, our friends, we are in the perfect relationship. I do not talk badly about him or our fights to almost anyone. I prefer to keep it private and deal with it together. Yet, as time progressed and I became more exhausted with our relationship, I confided with a coworker. Let's call him Isaac, 23 male. Isaac was a sweet guy, the only man from my coworkers who consistently seemed to be a genuinely nice guy. He was funny, charming, and an amazing listener. I think you can see where this is going. I have to admit I found Isaac to be attractive, but I was in a committed relationship and he was also dealing with his life, trying to win an ex back. He was madly in love with his ex girlfriend at the time and just wanted to win her back. I didn't know the full story, but let's say he messed up. Isaac and I would look forward to our chats at work and would even go out for drinks with our coworkers and have such a good time. Slowly, I learned we were very much alike and aligned on many things. Although neither of us would admit it, we had such a high tension between us. He would get nervous and constantly drop things around me and make me cackle. We would look at each other and just laugh. And then I would drive home from work at midnight to a messy home while Jake is smoking his brains out, asking, "Did you bring dinner?" I would daydream about a life without Jake, but it seemed so unfeasible. We live in a high cost of living city where it would be impossible for me to pay rent alone. I'm a full-time student, so I can't pick up more shifts without my grades suffering. We have two pets who cannot be separated. Our families love each other so much. Our lives are so intertwined with no way out. Now for the situation. One night after work, Isaac and I were in the parking lot alone after work late at night. I can't remember what exactly we were talking about, but all I remember was feeling very close to him. I was so nervous around him, but just wanted to be near him. He knew how everything was at home and always advised me to leave and do what's best for me. I would always respond with how impossible it all felt, but he would always try and make me laugh before he left for the night. That night, I don't know what got into us. We started kissing, and my heart just started racing. I don't know how long this kiss lasted, but I just wanted to stay and explore more of this new feeling. It finally felt like we admitted something we were trying to suppress for so long. We stopped and looked at each other, dumbfounded, and laughed. He said he had to go and told me to get home safe. We said our goodbyes and went home. Now, driving home late at night, he calls me crying. Isaac is begging me we never do that again. He had been in the process of regaining his ex's trust back, and this would be absolutely devastating to her. He cried and said he didn't mean to do that and that he feels terrible. I consoled him and tried to uplift him. I was so disheartened. I know what we did was terrible, but it seemed like I had a breath of fresh air, and it was just immediately taken away. My insecurities took the best of me and made me feel like I was not good enough, but that's besides the point. Fast forward, our friendship was ruined. Isaac had gotten into a serious relationship with his ex and vowed to never speak to me again. I would greet him at work and get no response. The only person in this world who knew how I was truly feeling in my relationship had cut me off entirely. He apologized to me and tried to explain how he was doing this to make things right. Now Isaac is happily with his ex, although he still leads me on at times at work, complimenting me or making silly remarks that would make me laugh, giving me glimpses of how our dynamic used to be. Yet nothing has fundamentally changed at home with Jake. I can't say Jake is an awful man and he deserves this. No one does. This kiss was many months ago, and no one knows about what we did. It eats me alive. Yet during that time period, I had something or someone to look forward to every week. Jake and I have our ups and downs, and he is better at times, especially considering it's been another year of us together. But I can't say I'm happy like I used to be. I associate him with the child I need to care for, when all I want is to be considered and taken care of as well. Isaac said all the right things, while Jake made empty promises to me daily. I wish I could restart it all, but I'm genuinely stuck. I've been pretending for so long. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you don't hate me after this. Okay, first of all, I do not hate you at all. I mean, obviously, everyone makes mistakes and things like this happen. Obviously, yeah, was it a mistake? And is that it's not a good thing to do? You cheated on your boyfriend, but at the same time, it's not like something like this hasn't happened before. And also, for you to take accountability and know that what you did was wrong is a huge, that shows a lot of maturity and emotional maturity as well. And I think that what you're in it's like a hard situation as well, because it's something that, you're having that inner conflict about if you want to stay with him, and thinking about what the past was like and thinking about what the future would be like without him, or the fact that, your family and your life is so intertwined. But what I have to say to that is that even if you feel like there is no way out in this type of situation, there is 100% a way out. And I can say to you that I'm not really sure how your guys' dynamic is and if this is something that you guys could both be mature about and amicable about. But my friend, actually, not that long ago, she lives across the country from me, but we've been best friends since like 6th grade. And she was with this guy for, oh gosh, so long. I think they broke up like 2 years ago, which was what, like 2023, and they had been dating since like 2017. So I'm gonna say 6, 7, 8 years was how long they were together, and they moved across the country together. So we're from Iowa, and they moved super far away for his job together. And they obviously started dating super, super young. They were probably 19, 20 at the time, I think, because I was a sophomore in college, I believe. Or honestly, it wasn't even a sophomore in college. It was this freshman to sophomore year of college, like in between going for summer, if that makes sense. I don't know what is wrong with me right now, but I'm computing. And they lived together. They lived across the fucking country, like I said. So she had no one. She had no one. He had no one. She moved there for him, and it was hard. But this kind of started happening as well. So the job that he moved there for was a third shift job, and I think since he was always so tired and he was mostly sleeping throughout the day and then would go to work at night, and he didn't really have time for them, and when he did, I think he was kind of just doing his own thing, playing video games and being like pretty lazy as well. I don't think he did anything like active or anything, and she really likes to go on hikes and go outside and be in nature and go on little weekend trips and things like that. And he was just not down for that anymore. Things had changed a lot because of his job, and he was very tired all the time, and he was working like a dog. So, yeah, their dynamic started to change a lot, and we had talked on the phone for a while about how she just wasn't happy in the relationship anymore, but she felt like she couldn't leave because she didn't have anyone. Like, she had a couple friends, and that's really it. Like, she wasn't super close with anyone there, and she was like, if I don't know what to do if we break up, I can't move out, I can't afford to live with at my own place, and I don't have anywhere else to go, and basically everything that you're saying. And she also didn't have like that great of a job. I think she worked at a coffee shop at the time, so she wasn't making amazing money. She was just making enough to live and do little things here and there, but like pretty like penny pinching. And so we were talking on the phone, and I was just telling her that I think if you're not happy in a relationship, I don't think that you're ever stuck in a relationship. unless you are being abused, because that's a different story. You can definitely feel like you're stuck in the relationship, and oftentimes there are very few people that get out of those relationships because it's so hard to get out of those relationships. And so that is a whole different story, which I'm hoping is not your story and not something that you're dealing with. But from what I can tell about this story, you aren't dealing with that. And so I think if you had an amicable conversation with him and you were like, hey, I love you, I care about you, but I just don't think this is working out anymore, and I just don't think that I can do it anymore, and then you guys can figure out the living situation from there. My friend lived with her ex for about a year after they broke up. Although that's not an ideal situation, it's you don't want to feel stuck in a relationship just because of some outside obstacles that make you feel like you can't get out. And that is just the worst feeling ever, especially having it be you living with him and feeling like you can't move out because you can't afford a place and all of that. But yeah, so they lived together for about a year after that. And I think in that year, she was working on trying to find someone else to live with, and she ended up getting a roommate and moving out, and then he ended up actually moving back to our hometown in Iowa, and she's been staying there ever since. That was a couple years ago, and now she's in a happy relationship with someone else, and she's really grateful that she left that relationship. Even though they were best friends, they were together for years, like 7 or 8 years, and she obviously loved him and cared for him. But when the time comes that the relationship isn't serving you anymore, unless you're in a marriage, of course, there's ebbs and flows and things to work on. But when you're 21 and 22, you don't need to find yourself in a situation like this. You can work on getting out of the relationship. And I'm not really sure what exactly you're asking for advice on for this, but if this is something to do with the relationship and if you should stay in it, I'm going to say no, because in retrospect of the rest of your life, you are so young and you have so many years ahead of you. And if you think about it, you want to waste more time on someone that you know that you don't want to be with anymore, and it sounds like you know pretty sure and pretty positively that you don't want to be with him anymore. So I think that is definitely something to take into account for sure. And just think about, if you're already this tired of someone and you don't feel that happiness in this relationship anymore, do you think you're going to start feeling happiness again in the next 60 years that you're alive? Do you want to be with this person for the next 60 years that doesn't make you happy, and that all these things you have to do for him and treat him like you're his mother and all of that, because that's usually how I like to look at things is, yeah, it can be scary at the time, but if you think about that in comparison to the rest of your life, why would you want to waste the rest of your life on a relationship that isn't going to fulfill you in any way, shape, or form? So, in any kind of situation like this, and I'm not even going to really address the kiss with the guy because I think that is just a mistake, and I don't think you're a bad person for that at all. Is that a bad decision? Is that a mistake that you made? Yes, but just because you make bad decisions or you make mistakes doesn't make you a bad person. And I can tell that you are a good person just by the fact that you're taking accountability for it and you're realizing that you made a mistake here, and you're hopefully not going to do that again, because hopefully you're going to think about it and you're going to talk to him about the relationship and hopefully end up ending the relationship in an amicable way so that you guys can go your separate ways and figure things out, but you can be happy and he can be happy as well. And there's no need for it to be like some shit show of a breakup or a chaotic breakup. And hopefully he can also be that way and see it through in a positive way, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's all I really have. Let me know if there's any updates on that situation. I would love to know. But I am in my podcasting room. Okay, so I have been getting more stuff for this room, and I got a little stand, a little entertainment center. It doubles as a cat litter box enclosure and also a little bed for the cats to lay in. And then I got a TV, and I got some art for the bathroom. The bathroom's pretty much been done, but I got some art because we didn't have any art in there. And I'm trying to make this a comfy, cozy room, like I said, like how my room is really comfy, cozy. And just because I really want to have that separation of like my room that I'm sleeping in, that I'm feeling peace in, that I'm, just chilling in, and then separating that with when I'm in work mode and I'm working or I'm reading or something. Like I want that all to be in here and when I'm podcasting and stuff, because I think it's a good like for work from home. I think it's a good to have that separation. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this art because I love all this art, but I don't think I love all of it together. And I want a different vibe, I think, back there. So that's one thing. And then another thing is just like, oh, by the TV stand, there's a lot of open space that I want to fill with cute cat stuff, but like that's functional and decorations and not like ugly cat stuff, because there's just a lot of ugly cat stuff. And yeah, there's some stuff that I want to make from like DIY. Like there's this vintage little suitcase luggage bed that I saw on Pinterest that I want to make so bad. It looks like they basically just ripped a vintage suitcase in half and put some like little bedding in the suitcase, and then they made like a two-story table out of it, so they put legs on, and I think I could do it. We have a drill. I could order some legs, buy a suitcase, done deal. So cute. And so like a decorative piece that's also functional for the cats, because this is also obviously, as I've said, it's the cat's room, it's the podcast room, it's the guest room. It doubles as a multitude of things. But yeah, so I want to get some plants, some fake plants in here because the cats will absolutely ruin plants, and just make it comfy and cozy. And I let me know if you guys have any ideas for this part, because I want it to be more cute, comfy, cozy. I don't know what that means though. I don't know if that means like gold frames and like cute little, I don't know, guys. I love all this art, so obviously I'm going to stick the art somewhere else in the house, but I just don't like it together and I don't like the vibe. So, I'm trying to figure that out and trying to, yeah, I don't know, guys, but if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Let me know. I'm sweating my ass off right now. This weekend I genuinely, I think because I didn't get out of the house that much, I was not feeling that great. And honestly, I kind of feel like I'm coming down with something. I feel a little sick. I don't know, but hopefully not. Um, but I did go thrifting this morning and I got a bunch of cute stuff. I cannot stop buying art from the thrift store, guys. Like genuinely, it's honestly insane. I have so many pieces of art, which I love because a lot of it, most of my art that I've gotten from the thrift store is great quality and it's framed very nicely. Like all of my art, honestly, I don't think there's one piece of art that doesn't look like nice quality and that doesn't look like pretty and unique. So I'm just, I don't know, am I an art collector? Call me an art collector. Call me an art collector. But yeah, I'm excited that I have like a huge collection of art and I've built it over the years, and it kind of makes me feel cool because hi, like come into my house and look at my art. I got a really cute piece, which I think it's a little bit unique in the way that I'm not sure everyone would like it, but it's kind of like comic-y. It's like a comic book. It looks like a comic book drawing kind of in a way, but it's so cool and it really fits with the two art pieces I have hung behind my couch, and I needed a third one since we moved in, but I couldn't find anything that matched the vibe of those two pieces until today. And I'm so happy. And I got a cute little cat welcome sign that is going to go right inside my door because my boyfriend scared me and was like, "You can't hang that on the door." And because you know why. I'm not going to say it in case someone's watching. No one's watching. Okay. No one like from my apartment. But anyways, they're my emotional support because my doctor did emotional support write me an emotional support letter for my cats. So that is the truth, and I have depression and anxiety, so my cats emotionally support me. Thank you very much. But anyways, I have to go. And I love you guys. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed talking to you guys. And let me know what you thought about these stories. Let me know if you have any advice for the advice segment question. And yeah, have an amazing day. I love you to the moon and back. Bye. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.